And welcome in to a Hump Day edition of the Backstage Pass. Of course, an evening edition where we are over here as it approaches a little after 5 o'clock and it's drive time. So if you're tuning in, we appreciate you joining us here. And we got to say good morning to our guest today over in Australia, of course, because it's already November the 11th over there in his land. As Simon Gardner joins us here, one of the big-time premier rock guitarists and preeminent guitar teachers in that great country down under. Simon, welcome to the show. It's Brandon Morrell, Nick Canizales. How you doing?
Hey, Brandon. Hey, Nick. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. It's bright and early here, the start of the working day. So, yeah.
And we're winding down. You guys are winding up, no doubt. Again, thanks to our sponsors out there, MitchMax.com, the official merchandise maker of the Backstage Pass. Bangtail Whiskey, check them out, bangtail.com or the Easy Liquor app. And, of course, Hank Jr. Productions, documenting life's moments through photography, videography, and, of course, podcasting. Now they're doing some good stuff out there, too. Well, hey, when I first got, definitely my friend Nicole called me. She said, I got something interesting for you. I said, what you got? She said, one of Australia's best guitar players. I said, well, bring it on, man, because we don't discriminate against any genre of music out there. Hey, interested to hear your story. You had Brisbane Grammar School. I mean, just late tutelage of Rick Purdy. Tell me about all this, man, about music. And I love that quote that you put on your website, too. It's like, without music, life would be a mistake. I tend to agree with that. Tell me about your story.
Okay. Like you said, I started playing when I was 13 at school, and I was really lucky. I had a great guitar teacher to start with, who is someone I've actually modelled all of my teaching off ever since. And I pretty much fell in love with the guitar straight away. And I still remember the very first lesson I had and how much I enjoyed it, but how fascinated I was by it as well. And ever since then, it's just been a constant in my life. So I've played guitar more of my life than I haven't, which I remember when I was in my 30s, I wondered if that had ever happened. And now I'm much older. It's clearly happened. So, yes, I've been playing all of this time. And I can honestly say I feel very, very blessed and very lucky. Because I think having music in your life, particularly, as any way, shape, or music really is a natural thing. And if you're a musician, music, I think it's very, very, and I'm very lucky to be part of, for sure. So I love it now more than I ever have. So just brilliant. So we're actually live from a place where I teach a tertiary education place called JMC Academy in Brisbane, and there's one in Brisbane, one in Sydney, one in Melbourne, and I teach guitar here, mentor ensembles and bands, and lecture some theory as well. So, which is pretty awesome. I love being here. Really, really great. So it's similar. I went to a place in Hollywood, California called, what's that?
I said, that's fantastic. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's great, man. I went to, I was, again, really lucky to go to a place in Hollywood, California called Musicians Institute, and in the late 80s, early 90s, and that was an amazing experience living in Hollywood for a year, kind of fresh out of school, and teaching here is kind of reminds me a little bit of there in some ways. So it's a really, it's a fantastic thing to be part of. A lot of young talent everywhere. It's always very inspiring. So yeah. But
Simon,
so
you've been doing this such a long time. What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received when you started in the music business?
I can't remember, to be honest. I don't think any bit of advice about the music industry per se. I think it's just stuff that you learn along the way and you hear. But probably the big one is just you have to just stay with it. Just stay with it. If you love it, just stay with it. It's funny. When I first started, I can't remember any quotes, but I remember quotes from recent times that are still just as relevant now. Stuff like, where there's passion, there's time. if you're really passionate about something, you'll find the time to do it. And that idea of just never giving up. And one that I thought of this morning that I heard the other day when I was getting up early, and I was thinking about today and our interview today, and I was thinking, win the morning, win the day. And I think that's a good one too. So it has nothing to do with rock and roll, but I don't know.
Hey,
they're always quotes.
Yeah, they are.
Sorry, man.
Those quotes we live by. No, it's okay. I wanted to go through the kind of the succession of the albums since Big Sky in '94, and you've done 4 more since then: Sketches, The Dragon, Choose Your Own Adventure, and So It Goes, and the latest single that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit. Take me through the succession of albums, because Nick and I do a lot of different artists here on the show, country, and of course different genres out there, and talk a little bit about how the first album, a lot of people say we're just trying to put music out there and kind of see where it goes, and then the succession of the albums that come along after that, it's about perfecting themselves as an artist, choosing the right songs. The songwriting becomes a huge part of their craft. I guess just talk about how far you've come since that first album, and how each record is kind of mirrored itself, while at the same time getting better and better.
Yeah, well, I hope so. That's a great question. I think when I did my first album, I was really young, and a lot of the stuff that I'd written for that album had happened, even when I was at GIT, when I was sort of 18, 19 years old. And I'd had this vision ever since I was about 15 that I wanted to make my own music and to have my own records. I have this picture of Jimmy Page up on the wall in my bedroom. That one where he's holding the double neck guitar with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. I mean, he's the sole reason I started smoking, for sure. But he still is probably my greatest influence as a guitar player and a musician, just like an overlord, really. Basically, I always wanted to do my own thing, and I played in different bands, and I still work and freelance in different bands and stuff, but I'd always wanted to do my own instrumental music. And from that first album in 1994, that was like just this real, almost like a stream of consciousness, really, that whole record. I was using a 7-string guitar, which at that time were really rare. I think I had one of the first ones in Australia at that time. It's only been out a fairly short time. Steve Vai was a huge influence on me for that record, and on my playing at that time, absolutely. So after that, there was a lot of promise with that album when it came out, and no one was really sort of doing that type of thing, like sort of particularly in Australia that I knew of anyway. There probably were people, of course, but they were doing instrumental guitar records like they seem to be doing in America. And it's not as if we don't have amazing guitar players here, but we have amazing guitar players here for sure. But I think that sort of rock instrumental stuff was just not popular. It probably still isn't. So, so I guess from that first record, it was just really a matter of just getting out the music that I was so passionate about, and I just had to get out, and I had to do it. And when I listened back to that record, I feel I feel really, really proud of it. I was so young, and I can hear that energy in it, that young, totally inspired person. And it's a couple of years ago, I wanted to relearn a couple of those tunes. I'm trying to learn this stuff, going, who is this guy? It's fantastic. And, it was me 20 years ago. I was going, I couldn't play half the stuff on it. I had to relearn it. I was sort of amazed at what I'd achieved. It's all very personal achievement, of course. And there was a lot of promise for that record, and after it came out, there was a big dip afterwards. That happens a lot. And the biggest mistake I made after that record, I think, was waiting. I should have just kept going and kept, like I said before, stay with it, just stick with it and keep doing music and keep putting out music. But I left it quite a while till I had a bit of a flat spot through the 90s, and came back out with Sketches, which is a very reflective and very introspective record, and it was actually the type of music I also really, really love as well. All the 80s music, and the Dragon a little bit later after that, more the feeling of it's got that sort of more progressive rock to that in there as well. Rocks, it's just that really visceral energy that it has. And when I hear that in any forms of music, I love it. Like I absolutely, whether it's country, whether it's rock, whether it's metal, you know, it's not just about being loud. There's a certain type of swagger that it has, you know, and this is the stuff I really try and develop.
Oh, we lost him there, and I tell you, just in the middle of a great story, of course, and getting you back here, just trying to reconnect. And sorry for those technical difficulties. There he is. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
There he is, right
Got
there.
you back.
So just as an instrumentalist, I don't really have that luxury of being able to write words to say stuff. So it's all, my voice is all through the guitar. So that's constantly my thing that I'm trying to develop, is that voice, and to tell the story and to give as much evidence to the listener of what I'm trying to say musically. Mm-hmm. So without actually saying it, of course. So that's sort of my path. That's Simon's 30 years at 101. So, yeah, sorry if it's a bit random, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll always, I just love to play. I love to write, and like I was saying before, I love guitar today more than I ever have, and that's the honest truth. I just love playing. Like there just doesn't seem to be enough time to do it. So. Yeah.
I'm ready to hear some music, Nick. I think this is going to be
Yeah,
good.
let's hear some music.
He's picking and chops, and on the night of the big awards show for country music in Nashville, it comes on tonight. I believe it's 7:00 tonight. It's the Country Music Association Awards coming up tonight in Nashville. So even that, if it's not enough, you get enough of Simon Gardner, you can watch the awards show coming up tonight here in the States in Nashville, Tennessee, to enjoy that awards show. Always exciting to support every artist out there. The current single, You Know Why I Ask You Here, will definitely take you on a ride. And this talks about what I loved about this song is, and of course the information we received, just overcoming obstacles, and of course, what may challenge your life and your dreams out there. And it's worldwide digital platforms. Make sure you get a copy of that. Simon, time to pick away. Let's hear this, man. I want to hear this song, and let's definitely send a message out to the audience. What do you say?
Okay, you hear that? Okay.
I sure do.
Right, we might need to do just a little quick sound check.
All right. That'll work.
You hear that okay?
Oh, yes. That's like a record just spinning.
We're ready.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay. We might mute this so I can hear it back through the monitors and get a bit of air in here.
Not a problem. Go for it. We lost Simon there. We'll try to reconnect here on the Backstage Pass, again, presented by our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions, MitchMax.com, and, of course, our good friends at Bangtail Whiskey. So having some technical difficulties there with Australian guitarist and rocker Simon Gardner here on the Backstage Pass. We'll see if we can reconnect here. All right, try this, see if this works. There he is.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-hosts Kirsty Krause, Jeff McMahon, and Karen Lee Batten as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
And we're doing that with rock sensation and guitarist Simon Gardner here on the Backstage Pass. Simon, great performance there, and sorry for the technical difficulties. That was his latest single, You Know Why I Ask You Here, which is out there across all the digital platforms, so be sure and go get that. Of course, it came out there over the summertime in August when it's hot down here in Texas, and I thought you jammed out. Hey, minus we had a little technical difficulties, so not too bad out there too, but the song is a jam. Hey, tell me about this, because I love the story of how you guys came up with this. You wrote and produced this single, and the best part, I think, was, and I guess best part, of course, what we could do with the time we had was the pandemic hit. You guys decided to go back in the studio and work on some new music out there. This was one of the songs you guys chose to kind of put together. Tell me kind of the story of, I guess, the pandemic and then going back in the studio and coming out with a work of art such as this latest single. Well, we keep losing him there too. I know the connection over there is on his end too, so we'll see if it works here with Simon. We get you back. Still waiting to get him back here, so appreciate you guys bearing with us, and of course, say Todd, thanks for tuning in, and definitely
studio.
All right, Simon, can you hear us? We're having a little technical problem here. There we go. Got you back.
Yeah, good. All right. So basically, the pandemic in some ways was great creativity because it meant that you were sort of forced indoors and just got to work in the studio. you kept yourself active. So that's pretty much where that one was born. So just really working on trying to keep up the writing and keeping that going, pretty much. So yeah.
Well, it sends that good message out there, no doubt, too. And I love the fact that you've been doing music your entire life, and definitely, it's one of those things. Let me ask you this question: what's been kind of the most challenging? Every musician talks about going through the peaks and valleys, if you will, of doing this thing called music. What's been the most challenging, I guess, event or a series of events that you've had to go through in this thing called music?
I think it's saying a lot of it. I think when you release stuff, there's a lot of expectation. I think as a younger musician, you put a lot of expectation on when you release something, and when that expectation is not fulfilled, which more often than not it's not, then you become disappointed and you think, what's the point of doing this? Blah 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 blah. I think the older that you get, the thing that you start to become is more resilient, and you start to focus and really value the actual process of what you're doing, and the art itself, the music that you make is really that's the success. Because what happens after that is still a bit of a mystery to me. That's managing expectations is the hardest thing, and I think the pandemic for sure has been a very difficult time because all of the live performance just sort of disappeared all over the world. It's funny. I sort of remember having conversations with friends of mine saying, "Yeah, there are no gigs," and it's like there are no gigs anywhere, all over the world.
Yep. Yeah, that's true.
All over the world, like everything's stopping. It's pretty mind blowing and really quite incredible to think. So that's been very, very difficult. I think just sort of scratching away at trying to make a living out of it is always very challenging. So it's I don't think, Brandon, that it's like one or two instances that really, that I can remember now. Maybe it's just because I'm getting older now with music and more experience, but I think it's just a constant pressure of actually trying to survive and raise a family and pay a mortgage and all of that sort of stuff, while still balancing the thing that really you can't sort of do anything else. You have to do this because it's part of your responsibility. If you're an artist or a musician, you've got to be doing music. You've got to be sharing it. You've got to be teaching it. You've got to be putting out music. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I suppose the hard things are trying to make it practical and enjoying that. So it's always a constant battle. I think anyone in the business, that's how it is. That's just it. I think there are problems wherever you look. So you just got to keep on keeping on, I think.
I talked about, overcoming obstacles, and we do this when we get up every day out of bed. We try to make, tomorrow better than yesterday. And of course, it's a new day, and a faithful person like I am too, you go attack the world and see what you can kind of dig up and find and that kind of thing. The song really talks about overcoming the obstacles and life's challenges and of course, never giving up on your dreams. But also too, you were inspired by this from a documentary that I've not seen, but I've heard a lot of cool things about, Vikings. And it's kind of like that metaphor for any challenge that life brings. Talk about how Vikings inspired you and kind of where, again, there was more kind of that fervor that was born in this song.
Yeah, absolutely. I really loved that show. I found it very just really compelling. It's a bit over the top for sure, but some of the characters were quite incredible. Really watching them. But I think the overwhelming aspect of that show, what it reminded me of, was just their fearless and relentless pursuit of far horizons. This tiny ship venture across the ocean and conquer other countries. Like how did they do that? How did they, tiny little villages with no technology, nothing, that feels pioneering, quite, remarkable. And I think I found really compelling about a lot of the battle scene.
Oh, we lost him again too. He's got a great story again out there too. So we'll try to reconnect, and hopefully he's again sorry for the technical difficulties. All right, he's back with us.
Yeah, so the etiquette that happens in those battles, and the battle lines are drawn and they face on, they're looking at each other, knowing exactly why they're there. Each of them is saying, you know why I asked you here, you know why we are here, we're going to do battle. And that's kind of the thing that I sort of took out of it. And metaphorically for me, that idea of performing, before you get on stage, before you're going to, release something, it's you're about to sort of go into this metaphorical battle or challenge it's really, at the end of the day, it's just with yourself, to succeed, like to get what you need to get out of it, to move forward with it. And it's something that show really sort of stirred up in me, that fearless, indefatigable thirst and sort of drive onto new lands, onto over the ocean, to places that they'd only heard stories of, that they didn't even know were there. Like, how did they do that? Those people, all that time ago. How amazing. Yeah. So,
hey, you're no stranger to award shows, and I kind of mentioned tonight's the 55th annual Country Music Association Awards at Bridgestone Arena. They're in Nashville, which can be seen tonight at 7 o'clock Central on ABC. And, of course, some of the artists we've had on the program here on the Backstage Pass will be featured there on the show tonight. And, of course, everybody, good luck to all the nominees and, of course, the award recipients tonight once it's concluded. We'll have coverage on that coming up tomorrow here on the Backstage Pass. Of course, tomorrow, John Ford Coley and Nashville recording artist Nicole Lewis is going to join us. Talk about just the award shows that you've been a part of, too. You've been a guest artist. You've done some work with a different award show there in Brisbane. That always has to be a highlight for any musician in their career, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, to be sort of part of any of that type of ceremony and to have acknowledgement is a really, really great thing, for sure. Really great thing. So it's, the first record I released, sort of, so they were a long time ago. But yeah, so being involved with anything like that on that sort of level, or any success that you get doing your own music, I think is and that public acknowledgement is really, really, really powerful thing. It's like like a drug. It sort of hits you and gets you fired up to keep going because you feel like that actually you've done something, So, yeah, for sure. But I haven't been to Nashville. I really want to go there. I really want to go to Nashville. I haven't been on any awards shows in Nashville, that's for sure.
Well, man, if you took the stage, I can see you kind of supporting some of the rock country that you're going to see tonight. I'm sure that like Eric Church will take the stage, and of course there's going to be many of the great performers out there. Of course, top dog Luke Combs is killing it there in Nashville. He's got a little bit of rock country there too as well. That guitar, that playing, that picking that you do, man. Like I always say, just shredding too is fantastic, and it's shown in the latest single there. So if you ever get there, and we're there too, we'll have to do an interview there. Hey, talk about what it's been like to support other artists out there too at the same time. Of course, whether it's just playing for them or maybe they're short a player on a gig or something like that, but opening for artists or just supporting them out there. You've done some Kevin Borich, Larry Mitchell, Tim Gaze, and the great Phil Emanuel too, and of course a variety of bands and supporting people in not just rock but blues and jazz, and that's always has to be fun because not only do you get your name out a little bit more, you're supporting artists who have done this in the industry for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. It's very it's always really, really challenging to get, particularly across different genres where you're out of your comfort zone, and it's very much you've got to get your head into that space. To reading to, or when you're getting to play along someone like Larry Mitchell, who's amazing guitar player, or Phil Emanuel or Kevin or any of those guys, that the sort of, I guess straight away you kind of get into that headspace of where do you fit in, how can you add to what's going on, as opposed, well, this is the way I think about it. I sort of tend to think about how can I add to this musical situation, whether it's a song or whether, it's not about me getting up there showing how many notes I can play. It's always about trying to make that song better by being part of it. That's definitely my MO. That's with all the music that I play, every band that I freelance with. That's how I always want to approach it. Is that I want to make sure that when I leave, or when the gig's finished, that I've done my little bit to make that a good night, or to make those songs sound better, or So that's definitely my goal every time I hit the stage. So. To make sure that I give the audience a great experience and have some sort of musical input where, I've just made it a better scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it shows again in that current single with some
definitely.
great instrumentation and some great writers on it, of course, and just great drummers. Why I ask you here is across all the digital platforms, and make sure I always say you go check out, of course, the website, which is Simon Gardner. Music.com, and then of course I believe it's .au after that too as well, so you can definitely check that out. SimonGardnerMusic.com.au, and of course follow him Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and all that great stuff out there to keep track of what's next, because there's always going to be something next out there. One thing I've learned about this show, Simon, is musicians never rest on their laurels. They always have something in the can ready to go, especially with 2022 coming up too. Hey, you want to do one more for us? Let's see if we have a better connection with this one, and let's do one more. You put out a great selection of songs out there with the guitar instrumentation on it, so let's jam to one more. What do you say?
All right, yeah, sure. Let me pick something here. You've sort of put me on the spot here, but that's okay. I've got lots of stuff here, so.
And my good buddy Rich Hall's tuning in. So, Rich, appreciate you, man. Good to see you too, brother. Always great to have you tune into the show too. And Henry, and of course Mitch Max out there again. Thanks to our sponsors, Bangtail Whiskey, Hank Jr. Productions, and MitchMax.com. We couldn't do the show without their support, so we appreciate all you guys, and Todd tuning in too as well, man. Appreciate bringing you on board just a couple of days ago. And Simon, we got our own merchandise now, so I feel kind of important now a little bit. So it's great.
That's awesome. Okay, let me see if I can.
We're about to jam out here. And, of course, tomorrow, don't forget John Ford Coley and Nicole Lewis to wrap up the week here with us on a Thursday. Hard to believe it's almost Thanksgiving out there to everybody. So happy holidays to everybody out there.
Yeah, I'm just going to find this one. You sort of caught me on the hop here, but that's okay.
Surprise on the show. Here we go.
All right. Yeah, almost there. Hold on a sec. Here we go. Gee, the internet's slower here. Here we go. We're rolling.
Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Go behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-hosts Kirsty Krause, Jeff McMahon, and Karen Lee Batten as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass.
And we're doing that here with rock guitarists, and of course the guy that's been doing it for a long time. You can tell they're on the great guitar there he's playing. Simon Gardner joining us here. Check him out, simongardnermusic.com.au. We put up the website there as he was playing the song. Well, I tell you what, hey, I love to finish my show, and just thank you for being a part of this as always, my friend. And you can tell the dedication and the passion for music is second to none out there. And I just wanted to get into a little rapid fire here and kind of have a little fun. So we know you're a fan of the show Vikings, which is a great documentary out there across the streaming side of things. Any other good TV shows that you've caught up on, I guess, during this pandemic / I guess recovery period we're in now?
Yellowstone. I've just started watch the first. Just the season 4 has just started, and so I've really loved that, and I really want a Ram now, a giant pickup truck.
You want to Ram, which makes it that new season's out, I guess already season 4. I want to say, but it's a fantastic show, and I've seen bits and pieces.
Yeah, no, I've loved it. I think it's great. So it's hilarious. Yeah,
love that.
It's just it's so violent. It's just it's like, God damn it, son! You can't just keep killing people all the time. God damn it, it's hilarious. But it's great, really good entertainment. My son got me into The Sopranos around just after watch it, which I love that. Again, all these shows are very violent, but my wife and I, we love to watch Rick Stein, his cooking adventures. They're really, really great as well. He's fantastic. But they've been good. Yeah,
it's a good one too. I started catching up on some of that old stuff with the Al Pacino days I was watching. They put some of the old stuff. The Godfathers came on, and of course the Scarface, which was pretty cool just to kind of get back and just watch it. And you always pick a piece of the dialogue or pick a piece of the acting that is out there too at the same time. So always good to catch up on those classics, like you said, The Sopranos, the Godfather, of course, Scarface, just any of those great movies. Yellowstone is out there for everybody's viewing pleasure now, so it's pretty cool. Let me ask you about this. Australians' favorite food for you is what? Favorite food and drink in Australia? What do you enjoy the most?
A bit of a fan of home cooking, but I think we're very lucky in Australia. We have a very cosmopolitan we are a very cosmopolitan country, so we have a lot of influence from overall. But fresh seafood is very, very much Australian, and so I very much love that. But I must say, I'm a bit of a fan of the good old spaghetti bolognese, homemade spaghetti. That's good. I'm happy with that. So,
nothing wrong with that too.
Yeah.
All right, you'll love this one too.
Australians love their meat pies too. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yes, I've actually tried those. I've tried the meat pies in different countries that I've gone to, especially different things. Definitely would have to try them down under. Can't say that I have ever been there, but I'd like to travel there and at least give one a try there for the meat pies. All right, if you could be on any game show out there, be a contestant, what game show would you pick, or game shows?
Oh man, I don't know about too many game shows. I don't know. What are the game shows out there? Family Feud, is that still around?
There you go. It's still around. Yeah, Steve Harvey.
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. I only see. I only watch Yellowstone at the moment. So
that's all right. Hey, there's
I only watch like Netflix, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. There's $100,000 pyramid. There is what else is out there? Press Your Luck. There's still those two classics back.
Any show I can win a Ram 3,500. I'll be part of.
Hey, the one I thought of there for you was The Price is Right. You could go to California, get all the prices right, and there's that Dodge Ram
there you go.
waiting for you right there too at the
there
same time. I love it, man.
Yeah.
So when all this is over, and you guys, I guess there's
Yeah.
some countries allowing flights back in the U.S. here with this, I guess, pandemic hopefully coming to some sort of a pause or at least an end on it. Is there a bucket list vacation that you're saying when all this is over that would you? I mean, we talked about Nashville a little bit, but is there a place on the map that you're like, man, outside of my home country, I really want to go here? Where would that be?
Probably Scotland, Scotland and Wales, all through the UK. I would say would be my probably pick at the moment, and probably Greece as well. But again, I'd love to go to Russia. I love traveling. I'd love to go all over the world. China, Russia. Yeah, absolutely. And of course, back to America. I love. You know, I lived in Texas when I was a kid. We drove across America to Canada, and I lived in Toronto, Canada. And then later I went back to Hollywood to study there.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of years ago, I went to San Francisco to do a triathlon called Escape from Alcatraz, where you swim from Alcatraz Island across the bay, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, I'd love to go to the NAMM show. So I've never been to the NAMM show. I'd love to do that. Yeah, that'd be an awesome thing to do. So yeah. So I'm guessing when everything's over, I'd love to travel all over the world. Really, I love it.
Man. Yeah. It's a great thing to do, no doubt. And like I said, we only get one ride through this thing called life, and we might as well just make the best of it. Hey, obviously you have, and congratulations on all the great success in music. And of course, the current single, You Know Why I Ask You Here, is out there across all the digital platforms for your just viewing or purchasing, whatever you want to do, Spotify, Amazon. Make sure you go get that. And of course, check him out at SimonGardnerMusic.com. .au. Simon, it was good to connect. Appreciate the time. And of course, we'll definitely have to do this again at some point here on the Backstage Pass. So appreciate you being on today, and continued success going forward in the industry, man. And happy holidays.
Brandon, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. I hope to meet you in person one day. The not too distant future. Thanks, man.
Not too distant future, no doubt. Of course, tomorrow, Nicole Lewis, John Ford Coley going to stop by. Again, our thanks to MitchMax.com, the official merchandise maker of the Backstage Pass, Bangtail Whiskey, and of course, Hank Jr. Productions. We'll see you guys tomorrow here for a couple of great shows with Jeff McMahon here on the Backstage Pass. Be sure to stay tuned for a lot more as we just roll on into the holidays. And of course, happy holidays to everybody out there. Happy Thanksgiving, and of course, a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, of course, as we hang on and say goodbye to 2021 coming up here in just a matter of weeks. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Backstage Pass. Until then, take care.